Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maria. If you watch this video and you enjoy it, don't be shy, hit the like button. And subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So last week I came out with a video on 5 steps to healing from narcissistic abuse. Today I'm going to dive into step number 1, and that is researching narcissism, and everything having to do with emotional abuse. So at the end of this video, I'm going to put up a screen of all kinds of terms that you can refer to when you are typing into the search engine in YouTube and researching narcissistic abuse. But right now, I want to start with, where do you start when you're researching after you get out of a narcissistic relationship? Well, I want to just warn you, sometimes we go down this rabbit hole of just researching who the narcissist is in general, who this person was that we were just in a relationship with. But don't forget to also research whatever family member or members you had that mimic the same type of personality traits as this person that you were in the relationship with. A good place to start is researching triangulation or narcissistic family dynamics. Figure out what role you played in your family. Were you the scapegoat? Were you the golden child? Were you the golden child turned scapegoat? Were you the invisible child turned scapegoat? What were you? What role did you play in that family dynamic? This is where the emotional abuse started. It didn't start in this relationship that you got into in your adult life. It started way back in childhood. Because of the false beliefs and the narratives that were placed on your life in childhood, it caused you to believe certain things about yourself. You carried these beliefs into your adult life, and that's what caused you to get into relationships with people that treated you as if you were in alignment with those belief patterns you brought from your childhood. Don't forget that familiar does not equal safe. The reason why we feel so haunted after going through narcissistic abuse is because it is what we call complex trauma. This is not just one isolated traumatic incident. Complex trauma happens over an extended period of time. So this means that the trauma happened more than once, and in most cases, the trauma happened throughout the person's childhood. Maybe they were also bullied in school, and then they also got into narcissistic relationships as an adult. So narcissism abuse in general is also called emotional abuse, and this is what we call complex trauma. Now, these people that we call narcissists, or someone who has NPD, or narcissistic personality disorder, or someone who is just very high on the spectrum of narcissistic traits. The reason these people became the way they did is because they themselves went through some sort of trauma in childhood. It was too much for them to process, and they suppressed their trauma. They suppressed their emotions. They didn't feel the pain. They didn't develop the frontal lobe of their brain that carries the empathy. So it's easier for them to have basic emotions like anger or what we call narcissistic rage. This is because they would rather manipulate, gaslight, and emotionally abuse you to make you feel as bad as how they feel inside. Even though they will never admit this, and they will never touch that pain that they have inside that they've been carrying since childhood. You, to them, are considered an extension of who they are, and they want you to feel as bad as they feel inside. Someone who has empathy finds it very hard to believe that someone who love bombed them could be also someone who abuses them. It just doesn't register. They mistake love bombing for what is real love. We have to remember that love bombing is a setup for abuse. It's a very quick way to get you hooked, or what we call a trauma bond. This feeling of push-pull. I love you, I hate you, I will say great things about you, and then I will abuse you. It's this push-pull behavior that creates this thing we call a trauma bond. The first stage of a relationship with someone that is a narcissist is called a love bombing stage. It moves quick and it moves in a very intense way. The love feels really amazing, especially to someone who has a core wound of abandonment. They feel loved, they feel protected, they feel like this is their knight in shining armor or the woman of their dreams. This person then changes, takes their mask off, shows who they really are, and starts this devaluing and then discard phase where the abuse sets in. It's very hard for someone with empathy to believe that that initial love bombing stage wasn't real. But what we need to remember is that stage, that was a setup for the abuse that was to come. I wish you well on your journey of researching narcissists. Don't forget to tune back in because we have 4 more steps to go through in your healing process of narcissistic abuse. Don't just stop at step 1 where you're constantly researching narcissists and narcissistic abuse. There's an entire inner healing journey to come. I'm going to leave you with some terms so that you're able to have an outline of some things you can research in the meantime. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't be shy, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for any future videos on narcissistic abuse recovery and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And as always, I wish you guys all the love in the world.